My name is Margaret Sloan, but everyone calls me Maggie. I'm 63, a retired nurse, and I've lived in this cedar-sided house on Maple Avenue for 3 decades. This afternoon, I stood in my front yard holding a paper sack of peaches when a stranger with a wide-angle lens stepped off my porch and snapped a picture of my bedroom window. He smiled like we already knew each other. "Just getting exterior shots," and he said. "We'll schedule the open house once the listing goes live." I didn't answer right away. The bag sagged in my hands. I could smell the fruit bruising, as if the sweetness had given up. Behind the photographer, the wind chimes. Thomas hung the summer before he died, flicked against each other. 1, 2, 3, like a gentle warning. I looked past the man into my own living room and saw cardboard boxes stacked against the wall where our wedding photo used to hang. "Who hired you?" I asked. "Chelsea," he said brightly, like the name ought to cheer me up. "Your daughter-in-law." I set the peaches on the porch rail before they fell. I had invited my son and his wife to stay for a little while. After their lease ended, I'd convinced myself that opening my door would keep our family close. Instead, I was staring at a man about to sell the last place Thomas and I ever built together. I told him to wait and reached for the doorknob. Chelsea's voice carried from the dining room. Cheerful and practiced. The way you talk when you expect people to agree with you. She stood at the table with a laptop open and a roll of blue painter's tape in her hand. A neat line of tape marks running along the baseboards like evidence of a crime no one would admit to. "Hardwood's in good shape," she said into her phone. "We can go neutral on the walls. Buyers love light and bright. It'll photograph clean." She noticed me and covered the receiver. "Oh, hey, Maggie. Greg's here to take preliminary photos. Did he find you?" "He found me," I said. The room smelled faintly of lemon cleaner, not the warm beeswax I'd used for years. Thomas always joked that you could eat off our floor. You could, but we never had to. We ate at the table he sanded himself, the one that was now pushed against the wall like furniture in a waiting room. Chelsea returned to the call. "Yes. The seller's on board," she said, eyes on me, smile gentle as a dull knife. "We'll be ready by next month." I pulled out a chair and sat. "What are we selling?" She ended the call and set the phone down as if it were a delicate glass. She didn't want to chip. "Maggie, please don't be upset. The market's strong right now. A smaller condo would be perfect for you. Elevator, no yard work, no stairs. We'd all feel better knowing you were safe." She came around the table with a little pamphlet that showed a building with balconies and potted geraniums on the railings. "Ryan says he's been worried about you on the ladder cleaning gutters." "I haven't been on a ladder since your Christmas wreath," I said, "and I didn't fall then either." She laughed like I'd made a charming mistake. "Point is, we can do this the kind way. We stage, we list, we let the market work for us. You'll thank me. There's a particular stillness hospitals get at 3 in the morning when every machine that can beep has already done it, and families are sitting beside the lives they're not ready to lose. This felt like that, an artificial quiet holding back something honest and loud. I kept my voice even. "Where's Ryan?" "Hardware store," she said, the roll of tape clicking against her palm as if it needed something to keep time with. "He'll be thrilled you're on board." "You asked him," I said. "Before you asked me." "I didn't want to upset you until we had a plan." I looked at the baseboards, at the tape squares spaced every 12 inches, at the emptiness where the maple-framed photo of Thomas and me used to hang. We'd been 22, damp from a September drizzle, cheeks flushed, trying not to laugh as the minister mispronounced our last name. There was a smudge on the lens that made us look like we were glowing. I had taken that picture down myself 3 weeks ago because Chelsea asked if we could declutter. I told myself it didn't matter. The photo was in the hall closet, and the memory was safe inside my head. Now the empty wall looked like a decision I'd made against myself. The front door opened and Ryan came in with a paper bag that clinked like a sack of anchors. He set it on the table and smiled when he saw me, as if we were all playing a game and he hadn't been told the rules either. "Hey, Mom," he said. "Chelsea told you about the plan?" "She started to," I said. "What's in the bag?" "Nails," he said. And he lifted a small metal sign painted with blocky letters. "Please remove your shoes." Thought it might help keep the floors nice for showings. "I haven't scheduled showings," I said. I heard my own voice, steady, polite. The nurse's voice you use to tell someone their test results without setting their life on fire. "I haven't agreed to a listing. I haven't agreed to sell." Ryan's smile faltered. "Mom, we were trying to make this easy." "For whom?" I asked. The peaches outside would be warming, pressing juice into the paper. Somewhere down the block, a mower hummed. A child shouted and then laughed like the world would never say no to him. "For me or for you?" He spread his hands. A peace offering without terms. "It's a big house. You've been alone a long time." "I have been alone," I said, "and I have not been helpless." Chelsea slid the pamphlet nearer. "You won't be alone in a building. There's a community room. They do Tai Chi on Thursdays." "Your father hated Tai Chi," I said. And then I heard myself and almost smiled. Thomas would have done it once. Badly, just to make me laugh. Chelsea tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, a small tidy gesture that seemed to tidy me, too. "We'll handle everything. Staging, showings, paperwork. You won't have to lift a finger." "I'm the one who signs," I said. "Of course," she said, the smile back, smooth as a countertop after a good sanding. "That's just a formality." The wind chimes tapped again, a little harder this time, like a spoon on the rim of a glass. I stood up, folded the pamphlet closed, and put it on the stack of boxes, where it looked like it belonged. "There's no listing," I said. "There will be no open house. There will be dinner in an hour. If you'd like to eat, you can set the table." Chelsea blinked, as if I'd switched languages without warning. Ryan looked from her to me, then reached into the bag for the nails like he was certain there must be one right thing to do, and it was probably inside a sack from the hardware store. The roll of tape clicked against Chelsea's palm again. No one moved toward the drawer with the silverware. I went to the porch and picked up the peaches. The smallest one had split and was bleeding down the side. I carried them to the sink, rinsed them, and reached for a knife. Behind me. The photographer cleared his throat in the doorway. "So," he said, polite but not certain where to look. "Are we doing the bedroom or—" "We're not doing anything," I said without turning. "Not today." He waited for permission that wasn't coming, then backed away. His shoes good and loud on the steps. The door closed. The house breathed. I set the knife against the seam of a peach and thought, this is the last time I'm going to let anyone decide for me what happens under this roof. I put the knife down and went to find the folder with the deed. The folder was right where I'd left it, second shelf of the hall closet, inside a dusty shoebox that once held the flats Thomas bought me for our 30th anniversary. He teased that my old shoes squeaked louder than the church floorboards. The box still smelled faintly of leather and his Sunday cologne, something warm and steady. I carried it back to the dining room and set it on the table. The blue tape marks Chelsea had left on the baseboards looked like little warning flags, tiny reminders that I had been invaded politely. Ryan was in the kitchen, searching drawers for a corkscrew he wouldn't find. Chelsea sat at the table with her laptop open, fingers tapping like rain on glass. She looked up when I placed the folder down. "What's that?" she asked, her tone light but her shoulders tightening. "Proof," I said. "The title, the mortgage release, the taxes, all the things that say this place belongs to me." She hesitated, as if touching the papers might burn. Ryan returned with an unopened bottle of wine and no corkscrew. He stopped when he saw what was in front of me. "Mom," he said carefully, "what are you doing?" "I'm reminding you both whose roof you're standing under." Chelsea laughed softly. "No one's trying to take your roof. Maggie, we're just thinking ahead. You shouldn't have to worry about stairs and repairs, and I've worried about them longer than you've been alive," I said. "And somehow they're still standing." Ryan rubbed the back of his neck. "Maybe we got ahead of ourselves." Chelsea turned on him. "Ryan, come on. We talked about this." He didn't meet her eyes. "Yeah, but maybe we should have asked first." "You should have only asked," I said. "There's no maybe about it." Chelsea closed her laptop with a sharp click. "You're making this dramatic." "Not yet," I said, my voice low, "but I'm about to make it legal." I opened the folder and slid the release of mortgage toward her. The county's red stamp caught the light. "Do you see my name there? Thomas's name before mine? This isn't a formality. This is ownership. You don't get to rewrite that because you think my life looks inconvenient." Her cheeks flushed pink. "We just wanted to help." "Help," I repeated. "Help would have been asking what I wanted. Help would have been offering dinner instead of dictating my future." Ryan let out a breath and leaned against the counter. "Mom, we thought we were doing the right thing." "You were doing the easy thing," I said. "Selling a house is easier than respecting the person who built it." The doorbell rang, 3 bright chimes that felt completely out of place. Chelsea jumped like someone rescued from a bad dream. "That'll be Greg. He probably just needs measurements." "Don't open that door," I said. But she already was. Greg stood on the porch again, clipboard in hand, smile apologetic. "Hey there, folks. Sorry to interrupt. Just need a few quick shots of the main bedroom." "You can take one of the walkway," I said. "While you're leaving," he blinked. "Ma'am? This property isn't for sale," I said. "Not today, not next month, not ever. Delete your photos." He glanced at Chelsea, uncertain which of us held authority. She folded her arms, but said nothing. Ryan stepped forward, palms out. "Greg, maybe you should give us a minute." Greg nodded quickly, muttered an apology, and disappeared down the steps. The wind chimes outside clattered once, like applause for the smallest victory. When the door clicked shut, I turned back to them. "Tomorrow I'm seeing an attorney," I said. "She'll draft a notice clarifying who makes decisions here. I want you to hear it from me before you read it on paper." Chelsea's voice trembled with anger. "You'd really throw your own family out?" "I'd really protect what's mine," I said. I gathered the papers, returned them to the folder, then to the box. As I slid the box back onto the closet shelf, the house felt different, not smaller, not lonelier, but solid again, as if it remembered who it belonged to. For the first time in months, I could breathe without feeling like I was borrowing the air. The next morning, I was waiting in the parking lot outside Parker and Reeves Law Group before the office even opened. The glass doors were still dark, and my reflection looked tired but steady. I hadn't slept much. All night. The house had creaked and sighed as if testing its own strength. At sunrise. I made coffee in Thomas's old mug and decided there would be no more waiting. Inside. The young receptionist handed me a clipboard and called for Ms. Reeves, a woman with silver-streaked hair and the kind of calm you only earn by solving other people's storms. She led me to a small conference room that smelled faintly of paper and peppermint. I told her everything, from the first, "Let's update the curtains," to the photographer on my porch. I expected her to look surprised, maybe pitying, but she simply nodded, taking notes with a blue fountain pen. When I finished, she said, "Miss Sloan, you own that property free and clear?" "I do," I said. "Then this is straightforward. I'll prepare a 30-day notice requiring them to vacate. You'll also want a statement of occupancy. Clarifies that you are the sole decision maker for any sale or renovation. The words sole decision maker felt heavier than I expected, like something solid finally sliding back into its rightful place. When I returned home, the house smelled of toast. Ryan was at the counter, reading something on his phone. Chelsea wasn't there. He looked up, wary. "Where'd you go so early?" "To make things official," I said. I set the manila envelope on the table. "This is a legal notice. You and Chelsea have 30 days to move." He blinked, then laughed once, small and nervous. "Mom, come on. I'm not kidding. Ryan," I slid the paper toward him. "I can't live with someone who treats me like a tenant in my own home." He read the heading, color draining from his face. "She didn't mean harm. She gets ideas. Ideas are fine. Selling what doesn't belong to her isn't." He rubbed his temples. "What about Noah?" "Your son will always be welcome here," I said, "but not while this house is a battlefield." Chelsea came in through the side door, sunglasses on, a grocery bag over her arm. She froze when she saw the document. "You actually did it." "I did," I said. She set the bag down. "You think this makes you powerful? You're just proving why people your age shouldn't live alone?" Ryan winced. "Chelsea." "No," she snapped. "You baby her and she walks all over us. She's sitting on a $600,000 property doing nothing with it. It's called living in it," I said. Her mouth twisted. "You're selfish." "I'm tired," I corrected. "Tired of being erased in the name of efficiency." For a long minute, no one spoke. Outside, a delivery truck rumbled past. The sunlight through the blinds cut the room into bright bars. Like a cage, we were all standing inside. Chelsea grabbed the paper and crumpled it. "You can't enforce this. Already filed," I said. She looked to Ryan, waiting for him to take her side. He didn't. When she finally left the kitchen, her heels struck the tile like tiny gavel blows. Ryan stayed. "You really want us gone?" he asked quietly. "I want my home back," I said. "You can visit, you can bring Noah, you can help me fix the gutter like old times, but you can't live here under her rules." He nodded slowly, eyes glassy. "I'll make it right." That night, I sat on the porch with a blanket around my shoulders. The air smelled of cut grass and rain. The legal notice sat beside me, its edges fluttering in the breeze. Somewhere inside, Chelsea was packing, drawers slid, doors shut. Ryan moved slower, deliberate, like someone folding up a life he hadn't realized was borrowed. The next days passed quietly. A moving truck came. Neighbors peeked through curtains but didn't ask. Chelsea avoided me. Ryan hugged me once before he left. "I'll call," he said. "I know," I told him. "Take care of your family." When the truck disappeared around the corner, I stood in the driveway until the sound of it was gone. The house exhaled, rooms echoed for a while, then settled. That evening, I turned on a single lamp in the living room. The light touched the framed photo of Thomas, which I'd hung back above the mantel. I whispered, "We're okay now." The next morning, the silence felt different, peaceful, not empty. I made oatmeal, watered the ferns, and opened the windows. The chimes sounded softer without the boxes to muffle them. At noon, an email arrived from Miss Reeves confirming the filing was complete. I typed back, "Thank you for helping me remember whose name is on the deed." Then I brewed tea and carried it to the porch, the same spot where the photographer had stood. Across the street, a boy was learning to ride his bike, his mother jogging beside him, hand on the seat until he found balance. He wobbled once, then kept going. She didn't chase him, just smiled and watched. I understood that look. Letting go isn't always loss. Sometimes it's simply setting the boundary that keeps everything upright. The house felt too quiet after they left. For the first few days, I still caught myself listening for the rhythm of footsteps upstairs or the soft click of Chelsea's heels across the kitchen tiles. Instead, there was only the hum of the refrigerator and the steady tick of the wall clock Thomas had hung 30 years ago. The silence didn't feel empty. It felt like the air was stretching, reclaiming space that had been held too tight for too long. On the third morning, I woke early. Sunlight slanting through the butter yellow curtains, I'd rehung myself. The color looked different now, less tired, more alive. I brewed coffee and carried the mug to the porch. The maple tree swayed lazily in the breeze. For the first time in months, I didn't feel like I had to tiptoe in my own life. Later that afternoon, Ms. Reeves called to confirm the paperwork had gone through. "They vacated," she said, her tone brisk but kind. "Everything's official." "Thank you," I told her. "You helped me more than you know." She chuckled softly. "You helped yourself." "Mrs. Sloane, I just handed you the pen." After I hung up, I sat at the kitchen table and stared at the stack of documents. My name, printed in neat black letters, had never looked so powerful. All those years I'd thought strength meant holding my tongue, being accommodating, keeping the peace. But peace without respect was only quiet suffering. By evening, the sky turned violet. I lit one lamp and unpacked the old wooden frame I'd hidden away, the photo of Thomas and me on our wedding day. I placed it back above the fireplace. The glass caught the light, soft and golden, like the first morning we'd moved into this house. I whispered, "We're okay now, love." I kept it safe. The next day, I opened every window. Fresh air swept through the rooms, carrying out the stale scent of arguments and disinfectant. I moved the furniture back where it belonged, polished the dining table until the wood gleamed. The groove on the edge, left by Ryan's toy truck when he was 5, was still there. I ran my finger along it and smiled. It was proof that love leaves marks, even the imperfect kind. A week later, Ryan called. His voice sounded heavier than before. "Mom, I wanted to tell you. Chelsea's staying with her mother for a while. She said she needs time." "I figured as much," I said gently. "How are you holding up?" He hesitated. "Honestly? Embarrassed? I should have stood up for you." "You made a mistake," I said. "We all do. The important part is what you do next." He sighed. "Noah's been asking to visit. Could we come by this weekend?" "Of course," I said, feeling my heart swell just a little. "Tell him Grandma's making pancakes." That Saturday morning, the house filled with laughter again, the small, honest kind. Noah sat cross-legged on the floor, building towers with sugar packets while Ryan flipped pancakes. He looked up at me and said quietly, "I'm sorry for everything, Mom." I touched his arm. "I know. Let's just start fresh." After breakfast, Noah ran outside to chase a butterfly, and Ryan joined him. I stood at the kitchen window, watching them through the glass. The sunlight fell across the floor, warm and generous. When they left that evening, the air felt lighter, not lonely. I poured myself a cup of tea and sat in the rocking chair. Outside, the wind stirred the chimes Thomas had hung years ago. Their sound drifted through the night, soft, steady, and familiar. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like I was waiting for anything. The house, the air, even my own breath, all of it belonged to me again. And it wasn't victory I felt. It was peace, deep and quiet, the kind that comes only after you've learned to draw a line and stand by it.